So, greetings from my side. So, my name is Pejovic Ognjen. I come from the company Robert Bosch, and at the location in Serbia, I'm responsible in building corporate IT software engineering center. So, when we say that we would like to change a world through the data, so we should not underestimate that we need to innovate the way how we work and how we collaborate and how leaders are behaving towards the software engineers. So, just a couple of sentences about myself. So I would shortly describe myself as a leader which enjoys building emotional, safe, trustful groups, teams, and the organization. And what today I would like to walk you through is to rediscover our environment and what is currently happening in this transformation, and then to really deep dive with you what will take you to rediscover your innovation power. And if time's allowed, I will be there to answer any questions that you might have. So what is currently happening? So it's all about the data, right? Connecting the sensors, we saw the Bosch Law and Mower, reading this data and creating certain value for the users. While doing this, what actually is happening in the companies is that we have a lot of new buzzwords that appears. In 2000 then, it was all about lean. In 2011 and 12, it was all about multi-channel, omni-channel strategy. Then the digital transformation kicked in, agile, and now it's all about the data, right? While doing this, what I would like to share with you that all of these buzzwords that are appearing and how the management and the leadership will understand it, this will not speed up getting things on the production and getting this innovation towards your user. So, but what we tend to believe often is that the Holy Grail and the promises is that data science, AI, and the machine learning will solve all of our problems. And then what actually the companies are doing, they're hiring as crazy and searching for these profiles, right? But what we tend really to forget, guys and ladies, so it's that behind all of the great technology and processes are the people. So here today, I'm not to discuss about the data and the science. Here today, I'm to discuss about the people who are behind this and how the leaders should treat people and the software engineers in order to make the promises of this innovation. And because the impulse for this innovation, what data are saying, so are actually a people, not technology itself. Technologies are changing, and behind each of the technology, there are even greater people. Shortly, what is happening in our world today and what data is helping us, all of the knowledge in the past were part in the silos, right? So we were organized in supply chain, we were organized in the marketing, we were organized and so on. But actually what is happening and where all of the organizations are going, so we are really breaking these silos and mixing these people. And we are building the network organization, right? And here you can see also that the new organization should follow the deep learning model, right? That each hierarchy level, it's learning from the each dot. And in order to achieve this, it's really hell of the pain. And this is what I would like to walk you through. Why? While all of your leaders are discussing about digital data transformation, data culture driven, we all underestimate one thing, that we really also need to focus to change a certain people behavior. With people behavior, I mean leadership behavior. The way how they were working in the past and how they were contributing towards the company goals now are changing. So what we tend to focus while doing this data-driven culture and so on, we really focus on the organizational structure, communication, collaboration. But what indeed happens is that we underestimate the part how we will change the leadership and how they behaved in the past and how they will do it in the next 10 to 20 years or maybe even further. So what's actually happening when you're breaking down the organization and mixing people from the different horizons, from the innovation, UX designers, mixing it with people who are on the operational level, who are actually doing some kind of the town planning, right, doing the tiny details, that there is artificial conflict ongoing. And I think also the previous panelists said, we have issue in the communication, what they understand and what we understand. And by rediscovering this innovation, because innovation in the big companies will not work that you separate your startup and give them everything, because at the moment where you're trying to bring it back in your organization, to scale it, to use network, it will not work. I saw it also many times fail it in our organization. And this is quite normal. Why? Because if we tend to believe that there is only way to do this right, using a design thinking as approach, using a lean, or using even an agile. But really what happens, for example, if you take guys which are working in the supply chain with data, so it's all about the processes, right? So how we optimize the certain processes. Design thinking, it's about user and need. And I would really like to ask you, who is behind the processes? People. People are behind the processes, right? And they just tend to use a different word, different data to interpret their reality. And what is the role of the leader? What I would like to emphasize here is to learn to translate and shape new reality based on the data and to act as a translator. And believe me, at this moment, this is lost. So because they focus on some other things, which I would like to deep dive. Because finally, that leader is focusing on the innovation, we really need to touch the cultural part. So when we say about the culture, so we should not underestimate this behavior. And for this, I would like to use one examples from the experiments of 5 monkeys. So what experiment tells? It's a metaphor, and I think it shows the rules in the cage. And imagine your organization, your product and team, it's certain cage which we created certain rules. So actually what experiments guys did, so they put 5 monkeys in the cage, and on the top they put a banana. Innovation, reward, data-driven culture, call it whatever you like. So, and actually they were starting to look how the monkeys are behaving. So, and what actually it's happened, so that one of the monkeys went out to pick the banana, but the other 4 get punished. Okay. They restart again, put the banana on the top. And what the 4 monkeys did, which get punished, they took this 5th monkey, immediately beat the shit out of him, sorry for the word, and learned this guy that they should not go for the banana for this reward because the others will get punished. And really my question is, with all of this data-driven culture, how much we evolved in the organization as a humans. So why? Because if you translate to the organization, and I'm really, let's say, sure that we always saw this somewhere happening in our organization, that sometimes it happened that new, fresh Top Gun comes into the organization and say, hey, we should do this. And then someone will say, we tried, it never worked, you should not do it, right? So I have colleague Milan, great guy, which was working on the innovation team. Immediately when he went out to the business guys to propose solution, they said, it will never work, we already tried. Why? Because someone from the management was pouring the cold water over us. Having a team members which we are not focusing on them and the human being and changing the rules of the cage will not help your culture to grow and to grasp this data-driven culture which is promised to change the world. Because I think the first message that I would like to share with you that humans drive this innovation. Humans drives the data, not technologies and the people. Technologies will change and evolve because of the great people behind. Ultimately, what is the role of the leader? Expert leader, line leader, project leader, a silent leader in the organization who doesn't have official role. The main task is to build psychological safety environment where we could operate, because we spend 60% of our time at work. Imagine, I will ask you, where your leaders are spending most of the time. Working on their own career, maybe, dealing with the politics, not focusing on the team of changing behaviors. Or when is the last time that you ask what kind of the leadership toolbox they use to develop you as an engineer? So if the answer for some of yes or no, then we have a big problem, because ultimately the danger in your organization to reach this change through the data is hiding inside of the organization, not outside. So, and the role of the leader, first of all, is to build a safe and emotional environment. Simon Sinek said this, of course, as a new buzzword guy, but I would like to walk you through how actually we could do it in the most simple way. Because even if you achieve it, if you're coming from the startup and say, hey, we have it, but you have a tendency to scale and to become big, just remember it. Even if you reach this culture, it takes 1 or 2 leaders to destroy this. You spent years building this, but if you build one or two shitty, guys, which are only the self-preservance oriented, this will get lost. So what is quite important, so let's say in our environment now, what is really changing? We as a leaders, and you, I also believe that all of the experts and software engineers are leaders, we need to promote the courage. We need to speak up. Then I think we need to invest time in changing and promoting right organizational behaviors and not only fighting for the roles and structure. Who is a principal engineer? Who is a VP and so on? This is really underestimated. Second, if you have a leadership, programs which helps to develop the experts, line leaders, or project leaders, embed this into it and find a way how you promote these top talents. If someone is acting as a silent engineer and not speaking up, so maybe he or she has a problem with the courage, you need to find a way, guys, and the leaders have to promote these people, because the one who is speaking loudest, it doesn't mean that this is best fit for the culture and for company. And really, I believe it's important for all of us to rediscover how to be humans at the work again. How that we treat and that we understand that we work with people. So, and this is what I would like to guide you now through in your data-driven strategy. So, whatever you're trying to innovate in your data-driven strategy, product, service, and etc., you need to consider three aspects always. You will always have a good strategy how to reach it and the certain processes, but think about how good is your culture to reach it. If this is a three aspect, imagine it as a mathematical formula, and you multiply everything. If your culture is in the minus, sorry, your innovation will not work. There is so many companies which is lacking behind last 30 years because they were not paying attention to the culture. One of them was the IBM, right? So they really had a problem with their culture, and they really invested a lot to reshape their culture, and you could see it also if you read it. Of course, I'm just sharing one of the examples, for example, which is not my company where I'm working. But nevertheless, if the culture is not your priority, and I mean your priority, not only the leader and also your engineering business team, then you will end up in the big problem. Because if we discuss about true innovation power and building the culture, I was asking myself how we build a trustful teams. And everybody said to me 3 years ago, hey, no, it's complex, it depends, and so on. But indeed, it's really easy. It's easy and simple as that. So first, the role of the leader, which is giving the impulse to the team, engineering manager, technical lead, people lead, and so on, it's to build emotional safety environment. To translate it, if you mix people from the different backgrounds, cultures, also inter-organizational part, it's that you provide the diversity and the inclusion. If people are feeling respected and treated respected, then only they could trust you. The second step, we need once again to focus to have this humans to humans interaction. If this is not given, then we could not discuss about grasping this data strategy. You will feel in your companies dissatisfaction, high attrition rate, and so on. Third part, which is quite important, and I will touch this in our journey, what we did is to build a fairness system. So in order to build a fairness system also with team through the data, and to teach the team to become self-empowered, the leaders, when I say leaders, once again, software engineers, experts, people lead, they need to establish transparent decision-making mechanisms and to offer it to the team that they have a way how they're making a decision. Then finally, we could discuss about engagement, right? Active participation in delivering the strategy, data, whatever, and so on. And finally, where the best teams are heading and how they work I exchange with a different culture across the world is the teams which are adaptable, which are role and framework agnostics. So the best team, I had chance to speak with a couple of guys which developed 4 of them global SAP, which now runs 5 billion sales. They said, hey, OG, we did this 30 years ago. Why? Because this environment was given by their leader. So what I would like to send you as a message, so it doesn't matter, is it agile design thinking, data, and so on. The leader itself gives this positive impulse and environment when you are heading. And now a trick question. If leader acts as a value and a people-oriented, then it will work out, right? So, and this battery will get charged. What we should not forget, it's really indeed to keep these red aspects, emotional safety and the trust. And you will read, if you go through the LinkedIn and so on, it was really emphasized now from all of the leaders like Bosch, Google, Apple, and so on. This is a key factor for the change, but it was always like this. What we need to have in mind. And if your leader is preservist on the end oriented, which keeps on the discussion on the headcounts, budget, and so on, and how to keep a kingdom, then I have a message for you. Your innovation power is proportionally inverse as a selfishness of your leader, not an ego, selfishness of your leader. So you really need to take care also how you build and promote this culture. And how to do this, how to build as a leader, strong team and team members. I really tend to believe that if this trust and the respect is given, we really need to focus on the couple of parts, building a strong individuals. And first of all, I would really like to mention here, we really need to teach the team members and ourselves, that we learn that we communicate with different people, different backgrounds, and to find a way to understand that we are speaking all about same verse. And then the discussion will go faster and the decision. But in order to do this, the incubator for change, it's indeed courage. We really need to promote the courage in the software engineer to speak up. Whatever software engineer in the data, machine learning, backend and software, we really see a tendency that the business is treating IT as a shit. Sorry for saying this. We are not on the peer level. But what we often forgot, they have an engineering in their role. What this means, we are not there only to code or to develop. We are there to consult your business, to improve your business process so you can make a better out of it. And if you as a leader in your team don't promote the courage to speak up and not defend your team, then sorry, they will never reach the engineering part and they will never be happy and they will change the company and they will find an environment where they could be successful. Because let's be honest, so this is what this digital transformation and the COVID now offer us, a lot of opportunities on the market. So besides the courage will lead to the better communication, collaboration, adaptability. So I call it 50 power of C. So if you build up in these team members, then we could discuss having a strong team. So this is a book from Ulrich Weinberg. So just as a hint, he said, we need to build a team intelligence. So I recently had a discussion with the engineers from team that I'm responsible. They gave a feedback, hey, OG, I'm quite happy that you say that we should work as a one, that we are not promoting the loudest one. There is a couple of us which are quiet by the nature, so we really are happy that you see what is happening and who is contributing. I said, no, guys, it's you. You decided based on the culture frame that was given by us that you would like to work as a one. But again, so this breaking down from this individual to the team and what school is teaching us, there needs to be also a time to do it. And the question is, who is going to do it? Because we as a human being, someone needs to give us a frame or direction. So what we noticed it in one of the exchange with one of the other colleagues from Germany, so from the other company, that we are missing one aspect, how to build this strong. And this is this leadership quality that I was speaking about, charging this innovation power. So if we say that this innovation power is charged only from the leader, I will say no, it starts from the leader itself, but it's also charged from the team members itself. I would like to do one exercise for you. Imagine that you have a strong leader which builds a strong team members, which builds a strong team. And now if this leader is exchanging, then this bad leader is coming. The good unified team will push out the bad leader out of the way and do the self-correction. And believe it, what we were set it up in the past with this management by objectives, we really use it in the past as a divide and conquer. And now if you have a strong team which could correct the leader's parts also on the top, there is no leader which will go against their team if they're all united. And imagine this charging of the power, it's really all connected. It starts from the leader, but also is driven by the team. So all of us needs to give our take into this. So I would like to share a couple of details from our journey. So we are currently a team of 100 software engineer plus and growing. The moment when we took over, so colleague Semir and myself, so we said how we are achieving this adaptability, that the engineering are achieving the vision that we set by the global team to work on the peer level with our business. First, what we did, it's actually we tried to reinvent, and let's say not to reinvent, but to say we are having the organization where our engineering team are feeling emotional safe to contribute the most. So, and one of the examples that I will share, there is a lot of tools here which again you can use whatever. We introduced something which is called barbecue your leader. So this means our engineering team was allowed us to ask whatever they want in every tone that they find appropriate, because there was some frustration maybe ongoing, right? It was up to us as a leadership team how we are going to answer and show them that this is okay to ask everything, and to show them lead by example how we should answer and articulate this part. One, of course, part is the change management plan for each team member and the team and so on. I will not go into the deep details, but then the second part was building a trust. And to build a trust, first you need to have emotional safety. And then we could discuss about feedbacks and so on, and have this as a two-way street. Let's say the year that we are currently, so where I will focus, it's building the fairness system. We ultimately need to understand when you as a leader, even in the software engineering team, building a fair system, this means that not all of us will be happy, right? Because this is a fairness assessment. If you are, there is this great sentence, if you would like that everybody be happy, then you should start selling an ice cream. Because the fairness system, it's really builds a team to the decision transparent mechanism regarding the roles, expectation, but also in the particular case where I'm quite proud, it's a team staffing. So where we change actually the storyline, we employed 70 people in the last year, let's say, from the market itself. We never took a decision who to hire. Team was choosing a team members which they will onboard and work and be responsible to integrate into the organization. How? Because offering them transparent decision mechanism. We were only there as a correction factor by asking a different coaching questions. So this helped us a lot because I will give you one example. So also data-driven strategy and so on, or whatever we are speaking about. We would like to support all of this with objective and key results, right? The framework coming from the Google. All of you heard it. It's now all about the team targets and so on. But in the reality, it doesn't work. And I will tell you the story why. So we tried out 2 or 3 years ago. And imagine if you're just coming as a leader with, there is my strategy paper, there is my direction where I'm heading, this is what I'm doing, there is the team targets, go for it, guys. Actually, what happens at the human beings, they're asking themselves the following question. Okay, you gave me a team targets, now you will give me a performance review to the software engineer or IT consultant or whatsoever if I'm contributing to the team. Did I choose the team members which I was working? No. Do I have a trust to tell you if someone is diverting, doing a gig, outside of the job, not getting involved? Do I have a trust between team members and leader to speak openly about this and what will happen to me if I raise this? And honestly, what we saw that people were not feeling engaged. And now imagine the different approach. Hey guys, besides giving you the direction, what as a teams where we are heading, this is the journey that we are going to take. You choose a team members from which you are going to contribute to this. If something doesn't work, speak up. No one will get punished. We are not the smartest guys in the room. And let's try to figure it out in the iteration how we achieve this journey. Believe me, it's a completely different discussion. And this is really underestimated from the different leaders because we often tend to believe this environment is given and that we could always own the success as a startup, achieving the great results, or the enterprise which is there, that once this environment is given, is there, it will not disappear. But usually this is not a way. So we have this sentence in Serbian language when we discuss how to scale this culture now. If you have it in the team and the organization, we say that fish thinks from the head, right? But let's translate it to the positive. If you would like to scale it, it really comes from the top. When I say from the top, I'm not afraid about the CEOs and so on. They have this in mind, their culture and vision, but somewhere in the hierarchies that is built up, this impulse is broken. And then the question is why? Because what leaders need to learn that their primary team in the organization, which is purchasing same purpose and same value towards the user, it's that the leadership is their primary team where all of the alignment should happen. If each of the leader in supply chain, in marketing, in the hardware engineering, building their own kingdom, sorry for the wording I need to say, then we are fucked up as a company. Why? Because we will spend most time in the alignment, politics, strategy, and the budget, and we will not focus on the people who will focus finally on the product which will serve the customers. Same again with the data part, right? And this is quite important. In order to scale your innovation power, we really need to break down these kingdoms which are built, and really we need to put our ego and selfishness behind. And again, this impulse should come from the top. So, finally, coming to the steps. So, how to scale it even more in the organization? Really, one metaphor. If your leadership team is a brain, so which sends this impulse towards the organization, imagine your organization as a nerve system, which is continuously learning and adapting from each other, making a different connections, right? And in order organization to become truly network organization, which is not anymore hierarchy driven, but the network driven, it's quite important that these impulses and these connections are created, because each cell will work for itself, but it will need to connect with the others and to learn it from the different hierarchy levels. And the question is how to scale up on your big organizational level. It's quite simple. it starts from the leader, and then the complete magic and work, it should happen into the teams, and you should promote right behavior. There is always a way to promote it, or if it doesn't work, we need to punish the selfish approach, which I'm not a fan of it, but we need to promote this behavior to charge this power. And then finally, when you achieve it, you will think we are succeeded. What I really like is this sentence from Hansi Flick, which was a coach of the Bayern Munich, won a lot of titles, won the first 7 games. So we cannot own a success. When you work with your engineering team, with the leaders and so on, at most you can rent it, and this rent is due daily. So you always continue need to invest and taking care that your emotional safety and the trust is not jeopardizes. So finally, we are in the volatile environment. COVID, something tomorrow, other from the market will appear in order to adjust. But my message to you, don't think that you ever won this game. It's a continuous training that we need to pull. And really to conclude this, it's at the end of the day, we could discuss about data strategy, about AI, about X, Y threat, supply chain, whatever. It's really important to understand that we work with the humans. And really this means that we work and live with people. We are spending 50 to 60% of our time with these people at work. Imagine how you will feel if you feel going to the work happy because you would like to see your team members online and offline. So, and it's quite important to this innovation, and the data strategy will be only multiplied by your culture. And if your culture is in the minus, start working on it. And really the innovation power, data power, call it whatever you like as a new sentence, is actually how you treat and respect people. Because what is the mantra of the Mario which I met, so he always said to me 4 years ago, people who are respect and satisfy will always focus to go on the next steps, means they will focus to deliver. If this environment is not given, so I think we should start working on it. Thank you. So, for listening.
Do we have any questions?
Yes.
Okay, one in the back.
Thank you. Bojan from Umlaut. Thank you, Oji. This was really a nice presentation. When I checked the subject, innovation, power innovation, what was the name, sorry, I was expecting something different, to be frank, but this was really nice, I wouldn't say lecture, but presentation about leadership, and I tend to agree that this is actually a key enabler for building up innovative environment. One question for you. In your company, do you have kind of measure or KPI which tells you how innovative your organization is?
So, yes. First, let's start from the global side of Bosch. Let's say, if we say in Germany where the company is heading, every 6 patent, which is, let's say, applied for when we apply for solution, every 6 patent is from Bosch, first of all. Then we have in the division that every second year, for example, in the power tools industry, we are launching the new products. So yes, from the innovation part, from the hardware and the software engineering, so this is one of the parameters. The third parameter could be set again and the measure how much we are earning from the new business model, because we are a traditional hardware company, which is now going more and more tackling with the service like autonomous driving, connectivity and so on. Yes, there are the KPIs which ultimately track us. But also what I would like to share in the team where I am responsible, how much we are innovative. So we also need to feel and to measure the people engagement, right? So how they are feeling at the work. And ultimately for me, it will be also attrition rate, right? How much people left the company because they are not feeling they could work engineering roles. They are only puppets who get moved left and right. So yes, these things are existing and they are, I will say, well measured, right?
Thank you. I was very much aware of the inventiveness and how Bosch as a company globally is innovative, let's say, but was more interesting into the last part about your team. Thank you.
Yes, so we are measuring this, let's say, on the monthly level, of course, and trying always to tackle the topics right and to discuss with business.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, then that's it. Thank you.
Right on time. Thanks a lot for
Thanks,
listening me and giving me the opportunity.
But, oh, sorry. Yeah, we have one additional bonus presentation here. So if anyone wants to stay, that's also possible. That was like unplanned. It's Lazar from Serbia Innovates. He'll talk about Supercluster in the Serbian startup ecosystem, right? So if anyone is interested, just notifying. And he'll start in like a minute. Okay, thank you.
Šta radim, da pričam samo za stream, a? Okay. Ajde, još sad je ovo baš neobično. Ajde.
Okay, so the next speaker is Lazar from Serbia Innovates. Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Lazar. I am coming from the team of the project Serbia Innovates, and it's my pleasure to address you today. Thanks for the organizers for that opportunity, and actually I hope that this topic will be interesting and that it will initiate some discussions between us, but also between you and your colleagues later on. So let me jump right into the topic of project Serbia Innovates. As we all know, there were some great advancements in the Serbian innovation ecosystem so far, especially in the IT industry. Everything is growing. There is a huge number of people that are employed on a good positions. There are some great examples of Serbian startups. The export is growing very well year by year, and it's great. And there are two sides of story. The first one is that actually in the IT industry, we had many people each year joining the industry, and we almost lost all our capacity. Like it's really hard to find good engineers to work on good projects. At the same time, there is another side of that story which says that there are many great successful Serbian startups which succeeded on a global scale, had really great examples, more than 100, almost 200 million acquisitions in the previous years. But they were all like isolated islands. There were no structured and coordinated approaches and efforts of the ecosystem to support such initiatives, to such, let's say, events to happen more and more. So how we make good exceptional? Literally by creating and enabling and sharing knowledge and trust, by creating more value by employed or invested resources, and by leveraging all the synergies potential that exists for sure. So what makes us and why there is this unused potential in the ecosystem? So there is lack of unity between the stakeholders. There is lack of coordinated success stories that happen on regular basis. There are insufficient investments, and there is huge immigration of our entrepreneurs and businesses. How we, as a project, we will advance the innovation ecosystem in Serbia? It's really by forming the Supercluster, which is nothing else but an organization, a platform which enables all of different stakeholders from each group of the stakeholders in the innovation ecosystem to do where they're best at and to collaborate on the commercial projects. So the Supercluster does everything that regular clusters are doing. It supports its members by providing different type of information, supporting them to get funding, to find opportunities to present their products, solutions, to go to international events. But the supercluster is specific by the fact that it really supports synergies and collaboration on commercial projects. How that look like? So, and before that, what we will provide with that? Availability of mobility and mobility of resources and people. So it's very important that Supercluster attracts the best talents and keep talents in the ecosystem. It enables entrepreneurial work processes. So we are actually embedding entrepreneurship into any kind of business activities. There is a compliance of goals and interests between different stakeholders in these organizations. It gives the global strategic perspective to the ecosystem and its members, and it also provides international connection and support. And how from this moment, where we are all working and we had some great successes in the previous years, how we get to the supercluster. First, we need to find the initial stimulus. So we need to recognize the potentials and strengths to build on. And we need to find good partners from each stakeholder group to support each other, from big companies to give us insights to real market needs and to give us reach to the international and most advanced markets, and also the real-time feedback from the market. We need academia, scientists, startups to work on solutions on that problems. And then we form the consortia. Consortium is kind of organization, but informal one that applies to actually become the supercluster and presents basically three things. The first one is the potential. So what are the strengths we want to build on? Are there great talents in our ecosystem? Were there some previous successes or some important events or some availability of some unique resources where we can build competitive advantage on? Another thing is show the potential. What can we do with these things? And show the dedication and commitment, what we are ready to put in this effort long term. And the third thing is, what are the benefits? What benefits do we expect for us as a founding partners of the supercluster? What benefits we see that the new members will receive as the supercluster grows? And what are the benefits for innovation community, our industry, and society as a whole? Then we will choose the 4 superclusters in 4 domains. We will pilot the supercluster over a year. And during that time, we will build collaboration, we will build relationships, trust within each other, and develop the first flagship projects of the supercluster. These projects will be done together with the support of our whole team and the resources that we as a project will employ. So the project itself will support with the supercluster methodology, with the funding for the operations of the supercluster, for the experts, domestic, foreign, in the field of technology or business, with the funding for different activities, internal, external hackathons. So different, let's say, all the activities of the pilot superclusters in the first year. Then we will develop together a strategy, how we will become the first Serbian innovation supercluster, and then we are going to proceed with this over the 4 years. So what are we doing? There is a huge research now which should find out what are the biggest potential of our industry, where we are the strongest at, and where we should focus for these 4 pilot superclusters. Then we will pilot the superclusters, as I said, in the 4 most promising domains. And over 3 years, we will try to position these superclusters and its members on the international markets, and to help Serbia being globally recognized as let's say the leader in these fields. And what is very important, to catch the field where we can still be the pioneers and take the leading position in the beginning, so we can have the greatest added value and actually bridge the gaps that we have in different other industries. So it pulls all together. Then in 2020, 2023, we'll select the first one, the most promising domain, or we merge two of these. It's very flexible and agile what will happen. With a goal to actually by 2025 we have one sustainable Serbian innovation supercluster. So we did a research with more than 100 interviews with industry leaders and experts from Serbian innovation community. There was a survey that with more than 1,000 participants, and the local context is analyzed, but also trends of the global industry in order to help us come up with the four most promising fields. This is what the project will do with it, so it will support actually different consortia to build the supercluster through the, of course, supercluster methodology, but also resources for everything that I mentioned previously, so I don't come back to that now. And there is a third very important component, which is access to finance, where actually our colleagues are working very hard on securing opportunity for all the projects that occur in the superclusters to have opportunity to talk to investors and acquire different sources of funding. So we as a project, we don't have a money in terms of to invest directly in projects, but we have funding for other activities of the supercluster, and we will also help projects to compete on the market for the funding in a fair market battle, but to support them in that. So what do we want by 2050? Actually, for this one innovation supercluster to be self-sustainable. And these are our high-level project goals. Of course, we want to build Serbian economy by creating an economic model that enforces sustainable innovation development, so which actually provides the ongoing support to innovation and collaborative projects between all the stakeholder groups, to encourage them to innovate and collaborate on large, to scale their projects. We want to create a systematic change in terms of how we approach to innovation and innovation ecosystem development, to speed up and really support growth of Serbian most promising industries, and in the end to deliver innovative product services that will become source of countries' competitive advantage, but also hopefully solve some of the world's major problems. So, and why do we believe it is? Because we saw some very, let's say, successful events in the past. The industry is growing, not just IT, but we see the great successes in all different industries that actually feel the impact of Serbian innovation and great work that we are doing. And it's also the globally recognized model which is being implemented in many countries like Canada, Norway, Israel, and in many other ecosystems. So we believe we have a strength to do that here in Serbia, and we believe that it will be a great project, and we are really looking forward to working with you on this. So thank you very much. This is the website of Serbia Innovates and email. Please reach out to us, get in touch if you have any ideas, and we will be happy to work together on this. Thank you very much. If there are any questions from the audience. Thank you.